What is Home Assistant and why should we be using it? Well, let's cover the why first of all, and we'll cover Home Assistant in a minute. In 2024, 39% of homes had smart devices. It's going to go up. The plans are that hopefully we'll get to 50%. Now, people are kind of sitting there looking at this going, I'm not going to get smart things in my home. Are you sure? Let's just have a little think. Got a smart TV? Smart TVs get made by Samsung and Philips. Smart doorbells? Lots of people have got those now. You've got Ring ones, you've got EasyViz ones, you've got Reolink ones, to name three. How about smart heating? Smart heating's going in everywhere. So you've got Hive, you've got Wiser, you've got Drayton. Smart lights. So Philips Hue do some, even IKEA do some, and then there's the Toya lights, which is lots of Chinese different firms. So you've got smart speakers, you've got Alexa, you've got Google Hub, you've got Akara, and even TP-Link's kind of got one. So we're going to be overrun by apps. We're going to have an app for this, an app for that. We're going to have an app for whatever. And I've not mentioned smart locks, smart washing machines, smart dishwashers, smart robovacs, phones, solar panels. Everything electrical is becoming smart. So hold that thought for a second. What is Home Assistant? So this is from the website. Home Assistant is an open source home automation that puts local control and privacy first, powered by a worldwide community of tinkerers and DIY enthusiasts with 3,100 plus integrations. So let's look at this. Back to front as normal, for me anyway. What's an integration? An integration is a way of connecting devices. So in Lord of the Rings terms, one app to rule them all. So you add Samsung, Philips, Ring, EasyViz, Reolink, Hive to Home Assistant, and you're able to control them all from one place without having to muck about in different apps and kind of things like that. So that's part of the why. The other part is they are looking at local control and privacy first. So what does local control mean? Well, have you ever had an internet outage and tried to use your Alexa or your Google Home? It doesn't work. Lots of the smart stuff, like the Philips stuff, requires the internet to work. So once you lose the internet, things stop working. Home Assistant is working to move things locally. So some of these things have their own integrations that people have made. That means they work locally. It means that if you lose the internet, it still works. So that's local and privacy. Home Assistant is not interested in your data. If you want to sign up for their online things, you can. It's all secure and it's all there. They're not using it to sell you more things because they don't sell stuff. They have nothing really to sell because it's open source. It's a free product, and they're not using the mailing list to sell like all the other companies do. They get your details and they try and sell things to you, or worse, they'd give your details to other people to try and get things about you. Home Assistant are very into privacy. Everything is secure. Everything is there. Okay, so I think I've covered what is Home Assistant and why you should be using it. So one app to use them all: privacy, security, local control, all those words, all that good stuff. So let's roll some credits and then I'll show you Home Assistant, and then we'll go on to what you need to Home Assistant. In this section, I'm going to cover what you need to run Home Assistant. Okay, so you can buy what's called a Home Assistant Green. And a Home Assistant Green has everything that you need to run Home Assistant. Yeah, all you need to do is plug it into your router and it'll start working. Price wise, it's around £85. It's kind of sold out on this site. I think it's low on stock in lots of places, but that's kind of the lowest level you can go. Going up from that, you have a Home Assistant Yellow, which is a bit more powerful and it's got a bit more oomph to it. So if we look at Home Assistant Yellow, that's £120, and you can get two versions. You can get one that's £130 that runs on PoE, which means you can place it anywhere. It runs over Power over Ethernet. The thing I should mention is I'm talking about HAOS, which is the complete setup. These are a little bit more techy, container core and supervised. HOS gives you everything that's there. If you want a bit more technology, you can run the next ones up. Okay, so we've covered the green and the yellow. The next one to look at is using existing computers and things. So you can install Home Assistant on an old PC or what's known as a Nook PC. And they're just small PCs. So if I just quickly just show you those. So this is a Nook PC. As you can see, it's a little square box. This is probably the minimum you need to run. It's around £100, 75 to £100. Going up a little bit more, you can run it on a old professional desktop, which again is quite a powerful machine, and this will kind of do. Going up to spending like £200 on a device, and you can buy Nooks like that as well. The thing to think about here is you can actually upgrade again. There's a way of running Home Assistant on what's called a virtual server, which means that after you've got the hang of running Home Assistant, you can run other home lab things. And a virtual server runs on something called Proxmox or VMware. And what that means is you could run other things like things that would cut out advertising when you browse the internet. Things that would help you save files. You could have your own file store. Things like Plex, that means that you can stream your own media. Okay, so we've been through what you actually need. The next section I'm going to cover what you can actually do with Home Assistant. So we're now going to cover what you can do in Home Assistant, and the problem with this is you can do so much, so I'm only going to touch the surface. So on the screen now is one of my very simple dashboards. So I've got the state in the garden, I've got lights on and off, I've got movement sensors where people are, it's got the basics of temperature and humidity. We can get more complicated, so you can show cameras and movement and kind of things like that. You get complete control over things. So I've got a demo one here. So what I can do is I can switch the light on and off. Now that's actually controlled by a sensor here, but I can override it. You can link up to other systems. So in 5 days, I've got to put out my rubbish bin and my food waste. And that's in 5 days' time. Yesterday, it was 6 days. It kind of shows me that stuff. And you can even do it on other things like the television. I can switch the television off. Okay, so I've got control of lots of things here. The other thing you can do is you can actually add your own entities. So what I did for somebody was they wanted to know a system where it would warn them when they needed to add salt to the dishwasher. So this one's set for 62 days, and it was added on the 5th of March. So we don't need to add salt yet. It's got too much on here because I was showing how it works. So these are all the values that were done. And if you click here, it'll update this value. In fact, let's do it. Okay, so I've added salt. I still don't need to add salt to the dishwasher, but it's now 62 days. Right.
The TV's just switched itself off.
I've no idea that that was. I'll switch it back on for you though.
Thank you.
The lights should be on now. Right, the last couple of bits in this section. Home Assistant is quite clever. It's discovered lots of devices in my house to add the integrations. Remember way back at the start we were talking there was 3,600 plus integrations. So I've got a Brother printer. It's found it. I've not added it, but I could do. I've got an Android TV. I've got TP-Link lights, plugs I think they are. I've got a Denon audio system. I've got WLED, that's lights. I've got Amazon Alexas. These are the things that I've added. So as you can see, it's got all these things in. The last thing I want to do is probably one of the most important things is automations. Now automations are a way of making stuff happen. You can get very complicated or you can get very easy here. So I've got one here that I created called Sunlight. So when the sun sets at sunset or when the sun rises, I've got two trigger IDs. One called sunset and one called sunrise. My spelling's not the best. And what that means is this will happen when those two events occur. I can add some and ifs, so I could say don't do it the weekend. Don't do it on Thursdays. Or do it at different times on Thursdays. So when the sun sets or when the sun rises, I've got to choose between two actions. When the sun sets, I'm going to turn on this light. When the sun rises, I'm going to turn off this light. Now that's a very simple automation, but I'm hoping that you can see you can build things up here. You can make all sorts of things happen. And it's not just one sensor. They're very, very powerful. So you can join things together. You can do all sorts of stuff. Okay, that's the last bit of this section. The last section is, can't I just use Google or Alexa for this? So let's go and do that. The last thing I'm going to do with Home Assistant is kind of cover, but I've got Google Home and I've got Alexa and you've not shown me anything that it can't do. Well, I have. Home Assistant is the next stage. Home Assistant, you can actually interact with Alexa. Let me just show you. Alexa, switch off the main computer room light.
Okay.
So that's coming from Home Assistant. All the implementation here is from Home Assistant. I don't have to add anything to Alexa apart from the Home Assistant link. Done. Google Home is exactly the same, works the same way, more or less. So you can do it. You can also interact slightly more. So if something happens, what you can do is you can add it directly to Alexa. And I don't mean to make your life hard, but it just works.
Don't talk to me about life.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Google Home and Alexa, got to be very careful when I say those words because sometimes things jump into life here, can be used with Home Assistant. There is a new thing that the Home Assistant team have created, their own voice implementation system. Because the problem with Alexa and Google Home is if the internet dies, it doesn't work. The new Home Assistant voice works when you have no internet. It also can be added to AI, so it can talk a little bit more. Okay, that's the last bit. I'm hoping this has got you interested in Home Assistant. I'd actually recommend that you don't jump into buying something kind of like one of the yellows or the greens or a server and things. What I'd actually recommend is if you've got a Windows computer, you can install Home Assistant directly on it. There's a link up there. So hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching. If you could like and subscribe, that would be great. And I'll see you on the next one.